It's always fascinating how some YouTube channels just, well, they hook you in.
Yeah, completely.
And you shared some really interesting sources with us, looking at how creators are using YouTube's own features, actually.
Mm,
Watching from just sitting back into something more active.
right.
So our mission today really is to dive into this idea, this gamification of YouTube, you could call it, but without needing, fancy extra software.
Exactly. We're looking at how you can use the tools already there, playlists, cards, polls, community posts, to change that dynamic,
Changing it from just watching videos.
to actively participating,
Yeah.
almost like uncovering something hidden,
Yeah.
making the whole experience feel like a quest.
A quest. I like that. And the main example we're looking at today is the Dixon Kincaid channel, right?
That's the one.
The source is painted as this kind of unfolding mystery, all happening right there on YouTube. So, okay, what's the core idea? How do you actually turn viewers into detectives?
Well, fundamentally, it's about switching gears from just passive watching to active exploring
Okay.
by using YouTube's own features in, let's say, a strategic way. Creators can tap into that natural human thing, our desire to spot patterns, solve problems. Think about framing a playlist or maybe a whole series as having a specific goal. Like maybe you ask viewers to find a recurring symbol across different videos.
Right. Okay. So let's dig into that quest idea a bit more. The sources mentioned using playlists like chapters, working towards a goal. How does giving viewers that kind of objective actually, change how they watch?
Well, the hook there is psychological, really.
Yeah.
When you give someone a goal, even a subtle one, their brain just engages more.
Right.
They start actively looking, making predictions, maybe feeling a little thrill when they find something.
Yeah, that aha moment.
Exactly. It's just the whole experience from just receiving info to actively hunting for it, like following clues. And that active hunt, that feeling of being on a narrative quest, it seriously boosts how much they remember.
And how connected they feel to the channel, I bet.
Definitely. Much higher recall and connection.
That makes total sense. Feeling like you're part of it, not just watching. Which I guess leads us to the next bit. Narrative puzzles and Easter eggs hidden inside the videos. We're talking subtle stuff here. Clues and descriptions, visuals, maybe even the audio.
Precisely. Think about those little details, things you'd easily miss just watching casually. But if you're looking for a pattern, trying to solve something, suddenly they jump out.
Okay.
And the benefit here is kind of twofold. First, viewers naturally spend more time with each video. They might rewatch, pause, analyze.
Right, boosting watch time.
Exactly. And second, that aha moment we talk about, when they finally spot a clue, that gives a little dopamine hit.
Ah, the brain's reward system.
Yep. It's rewarding, makes them want to come back, find more. It basically builds in this incentive to subscribe and stay tuned for the next reveal.
Like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, yeah. Okay, now the sources also talk about using YouTube cards and community posts for more direct interaction, like in-video trivia or polls. How do they fit in?
So these tools allow for more immediate, hands-on engagement.
Okay.
You could use a YouTube card mid-video to pop up a trivia question about the mystery so far.
Test their knowledge.
Yeah, or even offer a poll like, which clue should we investigate next? Sort of choose your own adventure vibe.
Oh, interesting.
And the community tab.
Yeah.
That becomes this central hub. Viewers can share theories, vote on where the story might go, connect with each other.
Fostering community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That collective problem solving makes them feel like they're genuinely contributing to how the story unfolds.
So it sounds like the whole channel can be structured as this immersive story world. And the way playlists are set up seems crucial. They're not just random lists.
Oh, not at all. Thematic playlists are more like levels in a game or maybe chapters in a book.
Right.
Grouping videos around specific themes creates these mini stories within the bigger picture. And the order of videos in those playlists is usually very deliberate. Each one builds on the last, reveals something new, poses a fresh question.
Rewarding sequential viewing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reinforces that feeling of progressing through a narrative.
And this is where that Dixon Kincaid example really shines, isn't it? It sounds like each video works alone, but the playlists, they reveal something much deeper.
What's really clever there is the layering. You've got the individual videos, right? Standalone content.
Yeah.
But then you look at how they're grouped into these thematic playlists.
And connections appear.
Exactly. Recurring motifs, themes that hint at a larger overarching story. And it's not always just one simple theme per playlist. there can be interwoven threads connecting them.
Okay.
And like we said, the order within each list is carefully planned to unfold that narrative piece by piece, guiding the viewer.
And it goes even deeper than that, right? The sources say the playlists themselves are linked, creating this even bigger web.
Precisely. Think of it like different acts in a play. Each playlist might explore one angle of the mystery, maybe focus on certain characters, but there are underlying threads, clues that subtly connect across playlists, expanding the whole scope. It really rewards the viewers who are paying close attention.
Okay, this next part is fascinating. The sources specifically mention 2 podcast episodes that act as a map or a meta guide to the whole thing.
Yeah, isn't that clever?
It's almost like giving the audience a decoder ring.
That's a great way to put it. These podcasts basically help viewers understand the structure, spot connections they might have missed otherwise.
Right.
Which naturally deepens their engagement, makes them more invested, and it encourages rewatching, going back to videos with this new understanding.
Looking for things they missed the first time.
Exactly. It's like a game developer dropping hints for a tough level.
And even the soundtrack playlists, they're not just background noise either. They're part of this narrative structure too.
Yes, absolutely. They're more than just music. They're integrated into the storytelling.
How so?
Well, the curated songs can amplify the themes, evoke specific moods, maybe even contain subtle clues themselves within the lyrics or titles. It adds another whole layer of immersion.
Wow.
And the material specifically calls out one particular song video and a couple of community posts that directly state, this channel isn't what it seems.
Explicit clues.
Explicit clues pointing towards the hidden story. And those podcast episodes we mentioned, they apparently offer guidance on how to piece these things together.
So it's this whole ecosystem. Videos, playlists, podcasts, music, all feeding into this big evolving mystery.
That's it.
And those interactive bits, community posts, cards, end screens, they're the glue keeping the audience actively involved.
Absolutely essential. Community posts keep things buzzing between uploads. Polls, teasers, sparking discussions, quick ways for viewers to chime in. Cards can pop up in the video at just the right moment, ask a question, offer a choice, link to another relevant piece of the puzzle.
Guiding them.
And end screens are vital.
Yeah.
Directing viewers smoothly to the next video in the sequence, keeping them on the trail, encouraging that binge watching that gets them really immersed.
And the idea of using polls to actually let the audience influence the story seems really powerful.
Oh, it is. It taps right into our desire for agency, for having an impact.
Right.
When you let the audience vote on, say, what happens next or which lead to follow,
right,
you're making them active shapers of the narrative.
Not just consumers.
Exactly. That feeling of ownership, of influence, it massively boosts engagement, watch time, comments. It's a fantastic way to build a really loyal, invested community.
They almost become co-creators. Now, you mentioned those 2 specific podcasts as meta guides, but the sources also talk about companion media more broadly.
Yes. So while those game manual podcasts are great for the hardcore fans trying to decode everything, other types of companion content can also enrich the whole experience. Maybe podcasts offering behind-the-scenes stuff, or exploring the lore deeper, or even connecting the story to real-world ideas.
Deepening the investment.
Right. Encouraging those rewatches again as people look for new connections. And, like we touched on, the soundtrack playlists act as these immersive sonic companions, strengthening that emotional tie-in.
So, with all this intricate work going on, how does a creator actually know if it's working? What do you measure?
Good question. This is where YouTube Studio Analytics is indispensable.
Okay.
You'd want to watch things like, watch time, obviously, average view duration, but also click-through rates on your cards and polls.
Seeing what people interact with.
Exactly. Look for bumps in engagement around specific puzzles or reveals. That tells you what's hitting home.
Makes sense.
And, crucially, don't ignore direct feedback. Use community surveys, ask direct questions in the comments, find out if the puzzles are too hard, too easy, if the pacing feels right.
Creating a feedback loop.
Essential. That loop helps you tweak things, refine the experience, and keep people interested long term.
So the big takeaway here seems to be, by really creatively using YouTube's own tools, building that sense of mystery, encouraging people to actively participate, creators can fundamentally change the viewing experience.
Totally.
Viewers go from just watching passively
to becoming active sleuths. Always looking for the next clue, the next piece of the puzzle. It's a shift from just putting content out there to designing an actual experience.
Yeah, an experience that draws people in, makes them think, and rewards their attention with something richer, more interactive.
That's it perfectly. Storytelling and discovery intertwined.
This has been really, really insightful. It definitely makes you think differently about how these familiar platform tools can be used.
Doesn't it?
So for you listening, here's something to chew on. How could you maybe apply these kinds of gamification ideas, even if your content isn't a mystery story?
Good question.
Could you build in hidden layers, maybe interactive elements, find ways to turn just consuming information into actively exploring it, whatever your field or interest might be? That's quite a puzzle in itself to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.